From ThreeZero and their MDLX line, this is their take on a non-transforming premium Optimus Prime. I'm going to be honest, the MDLX line, when it first came out, I swiped up the Bumblebee, I adored the Bumblebee, and then I kind of had a falling out with Transformers. We went over that in my my Skybound collection video. But now that I'm back into it, this was the line that I really wanted to catch up with. If you're not familiar, these are figures that are done to the nth degree to be painted, sculpted, and articulated to the best of ThreeZero's ability, all with unique stylings that's not perfectly G1, it's all their own style. So far they've done Bumblebee, Optimus, Cliffjumper, Starscream, and Megatron. Thundercracker, Skywarp, and Sideswipe are on the way. I just really want to peel into this Optimus because when I got this Bumblebee was a revelation for me. I adore this figure, and I'm hoping that I'm going to like this Optimus just as much. I usually don't talk about how a toy is packaged, but because this is a pretty expensive figure, I'm going to talk about it here. So basically, you get it out of the box, right? Doop, slide Optimus out, and you can see he comes in a dual layer tray. The figure is in there. You can see hands. There's a lot of accessories in the second tray. So we pop that out. We have a bunch of accessories. We have the Ion Blaster, his axe. That's going to be Sideswipe's jetpack, Matrix of Leadership, hands. Even more hands come with Optimus in his proper tray. So you can already see we're going to have a lot to talk about in this video. But again, I just want to point this out because I know when we start getting into this price point, people really care about how these toys are packaged. You can also see that Optimus is covered in saran wrap to protect his paint within the tray. When you first get Optimus out of the box, at least for me, it's actually kind of overwhelming. There's a lot here to talk about. Articulation, paint, sculpting, the sheer number of pieces in this figure. It's spectacular. So many tiny moving joints and armor plates and gimmicks to go over, so much so that they have to give you a map for you to figure out where to even start. Don't believe me? Here. So, this is the instruction manual. Keep in mind, not a transforming figure. This is just to talk to you about how to move this guy with all the pieces. So you can see they want you to move shoulder pads before you move arms. You need to be careful when you do the double jointed elbow. The chest panel comes off for the Matrix. You have all of the accessories listed. Here, same thing, you have a description of the waist armor, how the legs move, how the feet can move. This is all amazing stuff. Now that does mean that this guy isn't as durable as, say, a Hasbro Transformer. But at the same time, if you're buying this, it's because you want a more high-end Optimus that's not going to be a second mortgage. This other piece of paperwork you get, it's just in case there's something wrong. You never know. Accessories might break. There might be a defect with the figure. ThreeZero has always been really, really good when it comes to customer service, at least from what I understand. So that's nice to at least have that in. But now, let's just talk about this figure. I love this head sculpt for Optimus. It is not quite like anything we've ever seen before. It is very Japanese, very super robot. There have been times where a lot of Japanese art studios have redesigned Optimus, and it's kind of funny how they always go for the same stuff. It's the head crest, the antenna, how the kind of face mask covers up the nose. But this is still such a distinct look for Optimus, but it's still clearly the G1 guy, right? And you can see like all these little details like the lights right above the cab. You have this nice silver paint for the grille and all the smokestacks and bits. You have a wonderful deep red. The paint matches throughout. A thing I need to point out, the reason why the colors all match so well here, it's because we don't see any exposed plastic. This is all paint throughout this entire figure, which of course means it could be scratched, it could be damaged, but it gives you such a nice looking toy. Not just a nice looking toy, but a nice posing toy as well. The articulation is insane on this figure. I wanted to get nice and zoomed out here just so you can see what I mean. So when we start with the head, right? Not only is there a ball joint, but there's a barbell joint. So the head moves by its own, but the neck can be moved as well. So that helps with so many naturalistic expressions. Get a lot of range out of that head. Moving down, in the shoulder, you have the armor that moves. It allows for the shoulder itself to move. So you can see it does start to hit itself, but if you work with it, it will go through. but we have a huge, so we have a butterfly joint and a universal, and then an upper arm cut, a double jointed elbow, and a universal at the hand. A thing I want to point out, one, I didn't think we'd get a double jointed elbow, but it's been worked in seamlessly. You can see there's the joint. It looks like it's just one solid forearm, but then it hides itself away. That's so nice looking. Alongside that, there's an elbow pad here that moves out of the way as you move it. So good. And then you can see they even detailed the elbow part. It looks like a robot moving. Now go back to the torso. We have up and down and side to side. So up and down through an ab crunch, side to side through a diaphragm, and we also get waist. If we move on down, we have thighs, but before that, these armor parts get out of the way. These guys in the front are on a ball joint. They're pretty tight, but they can get out of the way. Here on the back and the side, you can see these guys go up and down. In the back, it goes side to side. So kind of like we saw with the Bumblebee. But that's how they can move out of the way of the universal hips. Look at how wide we can get. And then moving on down, we have double jointed knees. Look so good. I love how the knees look. Look at that. You just see all of the detail coming through. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And then you have universals down here for the ankle. And again, panels that will move out of the way so that you can better articulate. And then down here, we have something just above the toe. This is more for aesthetics, but it can move out of the way all the same. So this might be one of, if not the single most articulated Optimuses we've ever gotten. And seeing as how it doesn't have to transform, that's what you'd want. But they didn't use that as a reason to skip out on detail. Again, I just adore this. Look, you take the knee, and you can see all of these axles and pistons that are supposed to explain how this robot moves. I adore ThreeZero and their design work. It's something I've always admired from afar just because I wasn't able to get their big figures. But this guy, he's not massive. Just keep in mind how detailed this Optimus is. Well, here's a Marvel Legends Spider-Man. As you can see, Optimus is maybe 7 inches tall. So he's not a massive figure. He would fit on a shelf. And honestly, sure, this isn't how Optimus would scale to Spider-Man, but if you just want to make a shelf of characters, that actually looks really good. That looks really good, actually. I might put these guys with my Marvel figures. I don't know where I'm going to put my ThreeZero Transformers. I kind of want to give them their own shelf, but I don't have enough of them to justify that, so they might hang out with the Marvel figures for a little bit. We've talked so much about the painting, the sculpting, and the articulation. A thing I want to also point out is the heft. There's a good weight to this figure. Not anything that's going to be insane, but there's die-cast and plastic within the figure that gives it a wonderful center of gravity and makes it feel nice to the touch. As delicate as this figure could be, as many small pieces as this figure has, it doesn't necessarily feel fragile. I'm not going to sling this guy around. I'm not going to be throwing it against the wall. But it feels like it could survive a fall off a shelf. It feels like it could take a couple of beatings. It's a very well-made figure. And we've not even talked about all the goodies you get with it yet. I think the easiest place to start would be with the alternate hands. So we've already talked about the 2 closed fists. They come with the figure out of the box. Alongside that, you get these hands. They're for holding the axe. You get another group of hands that have trigger fingers. That's for holding the ion blaster. You get another group of hands. So these are kind of more gestural. You can see they're a little bit more caved in, but they're for the matrix of leadership. That's why they have those 2 fingers out. Alongside that, if you want something more emotional, you have these kind of splayed open hands, like maybe he's waving or something. And then you have the command hands, his Autobots roll out pointer finger hands. And the thing I really want to talk about is look at these hands even. Look at how they've sculpted in the bits that would extend and fold away so that he can actually make a fist. That is insane levels of detail. That said, not all hands are created equal. Some have more articulation and more range than others. You can see that the fist can get into a lot of positions, but a hand like the pointer, not so much. You have to be careful. I'm not saying that these guys are hard to switch around, but it's a very small peg on a very small ball joint going into a pretty tight joint in the hands. So, just so you can see, I have the pointer finger in. Let me take this out. Doop. And it's just a gentle tug. Now I'm going to replace it with this. This is the Matrix holding hand. And the way to do it is just gently coax it in. Just kind of back and forth, almost like you're just wanting it to pop in. You don't want to push too hard, too fast, because you'd be worried about breaking it. If it gives you too much trouble, you can always use hot water or a hairdryer. But there we go. Like I said, just a little back and forth coaxing. That's how you can do it. If it gives you more trouble than what I just had, then use the hot water or the hairdryer. Again, this figure isn't necessarily fragile, but a small piece is a small piece. Having switched out the hands, this is Optimus holding the Matrix of Leadership. It looks so good. It looks really, really good. As you can see, his 2 fingers are supposed to go in for the holes. Now, to get the Matrix back out, we do have to finagle just a bit. I'm actually going to pop one of the hands out. There we go. I can show you better. Actually, let me just pop both hands off. So, you can see how they're in there. Again, it's a secure grip, but we just want to very carefully get the Matrix back out around the fingers. It's not that I'm worried about breaking the fingers, I'm worried about the Matrix, and that's just because it's so thin. Look at that. So thin, but it's still so well painted, and they have a different, like, clear part in there for the Matrix itself. Now, sorry Optimus, I'll give you hands in a minute. Let's say that you don't want Optimus holding the Matrix, but we'd all like Optimus with the Matrix, sure? Well, for that, we take off his chest, and we can put it right here. Doop. And the thing I want to point out, you notice these shiny bits in the chest? Those are magnets. This doesn't peg in, this doesn't screw in. There's magnets that hold it in place, and these magnets are pretty tough. You get it on there, you kind of have to, not necessarily wrestle it off, but it has a good grip to it. I don't know, I'm a Neanderthal. I hear this toy has magnets in it, and I'm like, oh my god, can I afford this? Could I have bought a house with this money? I'm an idiot. I like magnets. What can I say? Magnets, how do they work? Accessory that's a little bit more impressive is the Ion Blaster. You can see this thing is massive. It is weirdly, I don't know, I like it a lot, but I never think of the Ion Blaster as being just this long, but it is massive. You do put it in the hand, it stays there snugly, but not so snug that I'm worried I'm going to break it, and you can see it's covered in this nice gunmetal. If I want it back in, I'm just going to take the hand and boop, send it on through. And there we go. We have Optimus locked and loaded. And that leaves us with our final big accessory. Our final main weapon is, of course, we get the Energon Axe. I really like how this looks. Just brutal looking. It reminds me of the War for Cybertron games. I love how there's like an engine block in there. Really cool stuff. Thing is, I don't know a good way to get this axe in the hand. The best way to do it really is just to force it in. And I'm not as comfortable doing it on this figure as opposed to, say, a $20 Marvel Legends. But yeah, just stretch the fingers out like so, and then coax it in. This is a thing where you wouldn't want to do this every single day for a few years. You would definitely either wear these hands out or break the fingers, but it goes in there easily enough. Now that the weapon's in there, I'm going to try to get it on the hand. Keep in mind, the hand transfers have been pretty easy so far. Having some issues with this particular pair of hands. Oh, went in perfect on camera. Awesome. So, there you go. Here's Optimus with the axe. What a great look. Oh, Lord. Okay. Yeah. This might be how I keep this, guys, with the axe. Here, let me try to... Yeah, there we go. 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 Yeah. How's it look on camera? That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Okay, yeah. Yeah, digging the axe. That just leaves us with one final accessory. And I kind of consider this a prequel, or rather a call forward to Sideswipe. Like I said, he's coming out pretty soon. This is Sideswipe's jetpack. If you've never seen the pilot of the G1 show, the original Transformers cartoon, Optimus takes Sideswipe's jetpack at one point. And ever since then, it's been a figure that's just kind of always, or an accessory that's always just kind of come back to Optimus. But you can see we have ports here, and then on the back we have these openings. It's like so well sculpted, you wouldn't even think that it's for an accessory. But you put this in, oh, it fits so well. And there we go. Not only does that give you Sideswipe's jetpack, but also, if you want to, that's kind of just Optimus's jetpack from the model. If you're not familiar with the G1 cartoon Optimus, he always had just like a weird red lump on his back that always kind of looked like a backpack. That's kind of what you're getting here even. The reds match all right. They don't match perfectly. I'm going to take that because Sideswipe is a different red. But at the same time, I mean, I think it still really works. I'm going to give this to Sideswipe as soon as he comes out, assuming that, like, this can work with him. I assume it would, but yeah, I'm digging this, man. Spent almost 20 minutes gushing on this guy. I hope you realize that I really love him, and I would recommend him if you're able to afford the guy. He is just a little over $100. Also, keep in mind, if you're not into Optimus, they've done this mold in different ways. They've done a Nemesis Prime, they've done an Ultra Magnus, they've done an animation-accurate color scheme that's a little bit closer to the G1 cartoon, and I believe there was something about a Shattered Glass version. So if you just don't want another Optimus and you do want this mold, there are ways to get it, but I adore this. I put him here next to my Bumblebee Optimus and my Earthrise Optimus. These two, for me, have been the gold standard of Optimus Primes, just in general. I adore these figures. And keep in mind, I'm not a masterpiece guy. I'm just not. I don't care for them. And it's not necessarily that I don't care for premium figures, it's I don't need a premium figure where I don't care about the alternate mode. I don't want to pay extra for a mode I'm never going to use or I don't want to use often. But having that same amount of money, you know, over $100, go into a figure and every cent of it is going towards the robot mode, this is spectacular, man. This is beautiful. I adore this Optimus. Of non-transforming Transformers before, and I've always done my best to defend them, but it's always been kind of hard, especially when you look at things like the Red series. But this is my favorite Optimus I've seen in years. This might be my favorite Optimus of all time right now. I don't know, but it feels so good, man. And it's such a perfect representation of the character. I'm head over heels with it. I really, really am. But they were great even. But this Optimus, I can't stop gushing about this Optimus. I got Cliff Jumper right here next to me. We're going to review him soon. I got Starscream right here next to me. We're going to review him soon. Megatron, I actually got the G2 version of Megatron. I'm going to compare and contrast him with the Super 7 Ultimates. I think that's going to be a fun video. But yeah, I don't want to say I'm all in on this line. I don't need repaints. I don't need characters that I don't necessarily care for. But right now, if they could get me a Ratchet and an RC, I'd kill. Ratchet maybe less so, because Ratchet, I could see his design being a bit clunky, but RC in this style would be amazing. Soundwave in this style would be amazing. My pipe dream would be for a Cyclonus. We already got Hot Rod, so Cyclonus might could happen. But if you've been on the fence about this line, if you're interested in these figures, if you want to feel a premium Transformer that doesn't need to waste some money or allocate some money to the vehicle mode, this is it. This is class. This is prestige. I love this Optimus.